It will be because now I am in the elaborative mode in the unit 1, but a very condensed mode from the third unit, right? And second and third unit, because time is very less. Every month we have to cover more than 2 units or equivalent to 2 units. Then only, so it's only 5 months remain, and cutting all the holidays and practices and everything, only 5 months remain, and then 2 units if you are targeting, then we cannot go beyond the 10 units, right? And even in the 10 units, we supposed to have a very good expertise, means we have not to leave any question from that section, right? We have to attempt. So that's our target, not to cover all the units, rather than whatever we are studying, we should have a full expertise, okay? Rather than, because we believe that half knowledge is dangerous, right? Okay, so 2021 hopefully belongs to all of you people, and let me discuss from every angle, because I am researcher, so my point of view is not a kind of giving you the formulas and shortcut tricks and discussing wasting the time. This is a kind of wastage of time discussing all last 10 years question, until unless you are checking yourself, your capability into the mock test. Mock tests are very, very tough, right? If you are getting 50%, 60%, this is a great thing, I think, right? So let us see this week. This week I am going to allow mock test for everyone. So now I am asking a question, because my chapter always starts with a question. Today's topic is kindly discussing the role of water in maintaining the osmotic balance, and various kind of properties related to this water, hydrophilic interaction, hydrophobic interaction, hydrogen bonding, stabilization. So water, that's why I selected water, because water is going to dictate all these properties like pH, buffer, reaction kinetics, thermodynamics, collegative properties, right? Everything. Okay. So starting from the property of water, what is the basic property of water? Everyone knows better. What is the properties of water? Water is basically ionizes, but this is not a kind of strong ionization, right? Because the hydroxyl bonds are polar and can dissociate heterolytically, and always you can see there are 2 types of product: hydroxide ion and proton, of course, right? Proton is also called H3, is called as H3O plus, is called as hydronium ion, of course. There are various names, hydronium ion and what else? Protic acid, right? Proton, right? Various names are there. So dissociation of water is a rapid reversible process, and you can see if you are talking about the electrical conductivity, this is kind of very low. Why this is low? Because ionization is very weak, so electrical conductivity is also very low. If electrical conductivity is very high, then you can expect very high dissociation, right? And also if you can go for the calculation always, whatever the equilibrium constant is there, they are represented by K equilibrium, right? And K equilibrium is high or low. This is very low. What does it means? K equilibrium low means low dissociation, right? Of low dissociation. Everything means low key, what are the features? We can sum up: low K equilibrium, right? Low equilibrium, low conductivity. What are the other features? Low ionization, right? That's why they are having the low ionization. Right. So mostly you can say 90% this H2O remains in the solution, only 10% is going to be ionized, right? So this is a kind of facts about the ionization of waters, right? And now see, also temperature is going to decide the level of dissociation. So now if you are adding salt, if you are adding NaCl, if you are adding sugar, right? So my question, there are three questions are there. Why nature has selected starch to be deposited in the body? Anything without, not in the chat box. Because if you are speaking, then only you have a very good idea. Okay, chalo. Let me tell you what you are saying. Because easily, no, not like that. Nature is very logical, you know. Nature is very, very logical. No, it's related with, I can give the hint, it's related with the collegative properties. It's related with the collegative properties. So how we can justify? For example, a lot of you can see various examples are there. For example, this is human body, right? This is human body, and a lot of starch is going to be deposited in the plants. Basically, starch in the animal starch is there. What you can say as a glycogen, right? So all this is going to be deposited. Basically, human body is made up of. This is human body. Alien लग रहा है, हंसना मत तुम लोग. ठीक है. टाई वही लगा बैठा है. No problem. So in animal starch, there is a main deposition is glycogen. In plant, you can see this is a starch. Why? Because 70% is consist of water. Now body has to save the what? Save the body from what? कभी आपने देखा जैसे अभी कोरोना का टाइम चलता है या कभी डिहाइड्रेशन हो जाती है, देन व्हाट डिहाइड्रेशन, सपोज एक कंडीशन है, एक डिहाइड्रेशन हो जाती है, देन इन डिहाइड्रेशन व्हाट हैपेंस? टेल मी. वेरी सिंपल. डिहाइड्रेशन में होता क्या है? अगर बॉडी को डिहाइड्रेट कर दिया जाए या इफ देयर इज एनी कंडीशन दैट excess water is released, then what is the consequences? Fatigue means kind of cell shrinkage, chances of cell shrinkage, right? Everyone agree with that? Cell shrinkage or cell death, right? So what I am saying, body is going to save this dehydration. How body is going to save from this dehydration? Via this deposition of by a lot of depositing over the animal starch, because 1000 gram starch equivalent to 10 mg of glucose. Do you agree with that? (1000 gram of starch has the same effect as the 10 mg of glucose. 10 mg are lower than that, right? Why I am saying? That's a very good question. How this is possible? Because again I am giving you, this is a property called as the collegative property. So it depends, and body is not only taking the help of these kind of molecules, rather than they are also taking help of sodium chloride pump, right? And a lot of albumin is there in the blood. Okay, they are also maintaining what? Osmolality in body. So we are healthy because body is helpful in maintaining correct osmolality in the body. If osmolality is not correct, then we are kind of fatigued, our cell is shrinking, or we are going to corona positive, right? Look like this, okay? Look like this, funny shape. So a lot of consequences of dehydration is there. So body and you and even the doctors, what they are trying first to save them from the dehydration. In the same way, the body is designed. Body is designed to give the correct osmolality in the body. So that's why you can ask. You said na glucose. Glucose is released in the body to maintain the osmolality. You have said na. Someone said that glucose is released in the body for osmolality. Is it right, Manish? So Padma, what you will say? So glucose is always released when you are eating, right? So insulin is there. Insulin is there, which is correct, which is maintaining the correct osmolality of glucose. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be hypo or hyperosmolality. Tell me, hypo or hyperosmolality. Tell me what you can expect. If excessive glucose is there in the body and insulin is not working, then excessive glucose will be released in order to save the cell from death. Otherwise, what will happen? Whatever the cells are there, suppose RBC are there, they will start dying. They will start dying because of hyperosmolality or hypoosmolality. This is my question. No idea? What is hypo and hyper? Hyper means high concentration outside the cell. Okay? And then cell start shrinking. Do you agree with that? Suppose this is a cell, right? And this is the beaker. Now I am containing 10% sugar. What will happen to the cells? Tell me. What you can expect? The cell will be like this or this. Tell me, option A or option B. If 10% glucose is there in the bottle. No idea? चलो फिर से मैं पूछता हूँ. What I am saying, suppose this is a beaker, right? And this is my cell. And I am telling here, everyone is able to see the screen? Now this is a 10% glucose. Okay. Now there can be two conditions. First, cell will be like this, and second, cell can be like this. Which one is correct? Tell me. Which one is correct? बोलो. A होना चाहिए ना, because there is a no depends upon. This is hyper. ठीक है ना? This is hyper as compared to cell. Cell में कितना होता है? 0.9% NaCl होता है. यही तो होता है. 0.9% या 1% glucose. Hardly. Right? But you are Pardon? That's why this is a cell shrinkage, na? And this condition is called as hypo or hyperos. Hypo means very confusing, na? Hyper, na, because concentration is high. Cell will be hypotonicity, but medium की बात कर रहा हूँ. If you are talking about the medium is hypertonic. So don't talk about the cell. Cell always will maintain the same concentration. We can decrease only the external and internal conditions. Suppose this is 10% glucose, this is 1% glucose. Now tell me, what will be the condition out of ABC when we are maintaining condition of this one, 1% glucose? Then tell me which one is true. C is true because this is nor hyper nor hypo. This is called as the isotonic condition. So there are three conditions. First, hyper, when the medium concentration is very high as compared to the cell, and second is the hypo when medium concentration is low medium concentration of solute, because when we are using the solute, then solute must be added in the some solvent, and solvent is water में क्या डाला? Glucose. 10% glucose डाला तो this is hypertonic. 1% glucose if added, it becomes isotonic. And if this is less than 1%, then they can become hypotonic. Because what is the natural tendency of water to flow? Water is going to flow according to solute concentration. Solute concentration if is high, water moves towards the, suppose this is a low solute concentration and this is high solute concentration. What will be the ultimate direction of the water movement? From high to low or low to high? That's correct. This is different condition. You are talking across the membrane, right? But this is, you are maintaining just a simple membrane and separating the two solutes, two different concentration of the solutes, right? One is having very low water and other containing this is very low water concentration, this is very high water concentration, right? So water is going to move from this area to this area. That's why whatever the water is going to shrink, this is high solute, this is low solute. Now water is coming out. Getting point? Water is coming out. When water is coming out, that causes cell shrinkage. Because what is moving? Water is moving, not solute. But direction of the water movement is toward the high concentration. And if it's reverse, then you can see you need ATP. Right? That's why there is a different terms. Diffusion occur from high concentration to low concentration. This is true for gases when there is no barrier, right? Then suppose this is a high CO2 concentration in an area, burning of fire, right? Then this CO2 is going to spread where there is a low CO2 concentration. This phenomenon is called as a diffusion, right? But if you are talking about any membrane, then if there is a membrane and then this is high concentration of glucose dissolved in water and this is low glucose, high water, then what will be the movement, ultimate movement of solute or water? What will move? Water will move. Water will move toward the high concentration of solute. So don't get confused between the diffusion, because in meantime you are going to have a lot of term, diffusion, facilitated diffusion, right? Osmotic diffusion, right? A lot of term will be there. Then you are going to make a wrong decision. One day someone was asking me how to make the correct decision. Raj Lakshmi. So clarity of concept must be there. If you are having a single doubt, you cannot make a right decision. So right decision comes when everything is clear. Then you are 100% sure when you are marking the questions. Okay? So, anything anyone want to ask? Because I know many people got confused. Water is moving from low to high, gases is moving from high to low. Who is getting confused? But this is very simple and this is a fact. One, you are talking when this is a liquid medium, right? And other, you are talking about gases, right? So gases, and also there is no barrier. And if you are taking a barrier and difference of solute concentration is there, then water movement will be there. Medium is going to movement is there. Solvent is going to movement is there. That's why we are talking about the effect of solute in our body. Because we are the student of life sciences. But we can understand all the phenomena in the body because of physical sciences, like term diffusion, like hypertonic, like isotonic, like hypotonic, right? And then there was a discovery of collegative property, because all these phenomena is going to follow a principle. And what is that principle? What is that single principle? Tell me. That is called as the collegative property. And every scientist was surprised at that time. If you see in the winter season, what happens? All the ice are there over the water, right? And still fishes are alive. Why fishes are alive? Because of the collegative property of water. Why scientists are shouting for the pollutants, plastics? Because they are going to change the property of ice. Now everything will be ice, either everything will be ice or everything will be water. This both condition is going to damage for all the living organisms. And if living organism is going to die, and if ecological system is going to break, then there will be huge problem. Right? Do you agree? So that's why whatever the maximum life is supported by water. Why maximum life is supported by water? Because water is going to dissolve variety of solute. For example, if I am going to dissolve NaCl, then how many ion can be expected? 2. Right? NaCl, H3PO4. How many molecule can be expected to ionize? Below 3. Right? So whatever we can see the property, comparative property of boiling point, melting point, osmolarity, right? All these depends on what? The degree of ionization. Degree of ionization. Right? And water is going to decide. Polar molecules are going to be dissolved more effectively at certain fixed temperature and pressure, while non-polar molecule is not going to dissolve at any temperature or pressure. Right? So overall the colligative properties, colligative property means 3 properties. If I am talking about the colligative property, then what I am talking about, tell me. First one is boiling point, correct? What is the first property? Boiling point. Second property, melting point. Third property, osmolarity. First property is boiling point. Second property, tell me. Boiling point, then melting point, and then osmolarity. Right? Do you agree, Gayatri? So always think, whenever there is a term, colligative property means BP, MP and OMP. Boiling point, melting point, osmolarity. Right? So all these properties is going to be decided by the nature of the solute. So now we will study the chemical behavior, their formula, their equation. And what are the non-colligative property? Non-colligative property means chemical nature. Non-colligative property which cannot be dissolved, which cannot be ionized, which cannot be predicted, which cannot be counted. And that is the chemical nature. For example, taste we cannot calculate, color we cannot calculate, surface tension we cannot predict, viscosity cannot predict, right? So all we are thinking in the term of one word, that is life. And if life means living system, not dead system, right? For example, हम कहते हैं कि you are not responding. Responding means not responding means dead. Responding means life, right? So I am always talking for the safety of cells. If cell is living, it's responding. If cell is dead, then it's not responding. And sometimes what are the factors that make them dead? Tell me. Sometimes what we are taking as a solute, but it becomes toxic. Why this is toxic? Actually they are not toxic. Rather than they are such a solvent, such a chemical which are going to suck all the water from the cells. That's why we are using the term toxic. Right? For example, we can see the food poisoning. What happens in the food poisoning? Any idea? Botulism. Right? Botulism is there. Vibrio. Tell me. So, what we are expecting in the food poisoning, a lot of growth of microbes. So, microbe is growing. rapidly, very fast. In every 30 minutes, they are making from one cell to two cells. And generation time is, sometime we will talk about the generation time. Generation time is 30 minutes. Okay, doubling time 30 minutes. Right? So sometime I will tell you difference between generation time, doubling time. The microbe is growing fast. Microbe is utilizing all the glucose, all the solutes. अब क्या हुआ? And also they are releasing certain toxic proteins which are damaging walls. अब ये cell की wall भी damage हो गई, and they consumed all the glucose is what? Salt is what? They are kind of solute. तो इन्होंने सारा कंज्यूम कर दिया, ग्लूकोज भी खत्म कर दिया, सॉल्यूट भी खत्म कर दिया, राइट. सो दे नाउ बॉडी इज लेस इन सॉल्यूट एंड बिकॉज ऑफ डैमेज ऑफ वॉल देयर इज आल्सो डिस्टर्बेंस इन द सोडियम पोटेशियम पंप. तो ये जो दीज सॉल्ट्स वेयर गोइंग टू मेंटेन सम काइंड ऑफ osmolality of the cell that was essential for the life. Now the cell is rapidly dehydrated. And if the cell is rapidly dehydrating, what we can expect? This is living life or death? Life or death? This is death, right? Correct, Rajlakshmi, thank you. So now tell me, again come to this point. What is written? Solute can change the property of water. Now now you are going to where? कहाँ पे जा रहे हो? To the doctor. डॉक्टर क्या कर रहा है? डॉक्टर क्या कर रहा है? टेल मी. डॉक्टर कह रहा भाई ले आओ, क्या लगा दें? इंजेक्शन. हाँ. Rajlakshmi, you are full doctor. Now you are on the means any patient, not you. Okay. So this is the patient. Now the electrolyte is given, right? Glucose is given. Okay. Why glucose is given? Because microbe has depleted what? Solute. Microbe depleted solute. Now doctor is maintaining solute, and doctor also trying to kill these microbes. So whatever the injection of antibiotics, that should be given to the patient. Okay, that should be given to the patient. So one side microbe is going to be killed, and other side your osmolality of the cell is going to be maintained by giving the additional solute, glucose, saline, right? Both are given. Okay. And doctor making big money as soon as you are sick. Doctor making big money because they can give you 10 times glucose as per requirement, and for them the bottle cost is 20 rupees. For you this bottle cost is 200. If this is a 10 bottle, then you are paying 2000, right? So don't go over that. Okay. So what I am saying, solute must be maintained at every cost, because solute is playing very important role in healthy life. Now, what are the equations by which you can explain this osmolarity? What is osmolarity? So, osmolarity are of three types. First, isotonic, and the main equation applies here is pi is equal to I C R T. Right. So there are three types of osmolarity: isotonic, hypertonic, and third is hypotonic. ठीक है. So what is the pi? What is the I? What is the C? What is the R? R is the gas constant, everyone knows. T for temperature, C for concentration, I for ions, right? And pi is equal to osmotic pressure. Osmolarity is equally can be defined as osmotic pressure. Correct? So if I am talking about the isotonic, in that condition, how you will apply this formula? Because ions, there is no ions, I is equal to 0. So pi is equal to CRT. Hypertonic, I is equal to I greater than 1. Hypotonic, I less than 1. Got the idea? All are sleeping. My God. Tell me your faces. Who is who is not sleeping? I will not going to believe. Swati is sleeping. Suparna is not sleeping. Raj Lakshmi is not sleeping. Yes, there is voice. Agriti is sleeping. Vipanchi is sleeping. Vipanchi is doing a lot of hard work, so she is sleeping. And I'm surprised, all the girls, my God, I'm going to rename my Merit Life Sciences. What should be the right name if all the girls are there? Tell me. Chalo, this was a kind of funny to make you not to sleep, right? So I think you got this idea now. Understand this concept of osmolarity, and someone is asking how this is possible. 1000 gram of starch is equivalent to 10 mg or less than that glucose. Who was asking? चलो कल से नाम चेंज कर देते हैं, वुमेन एम्पावरिंग इंस्टीट्यूट. And I am truly, if I decided, I am not going to allow any boys, because this is the surprising. Any boys are not there. Manish, are you going to continue with this group, or I should change the name? Tell me. So going to be girl dominated, yes. So girl is dominating, really dominating, not only dominating by their effort, right? Not by anything. They are doing a lot of hard work. They are studying, they are teaching, they are doing the tutoring, right? And they are earning also. And I think this my decision was right. You know? This has given opportunity to these girls. And I have talked to everyone, I think. You know? And then I found yes, all they are very genius, hardworking, intelligent. So let us again come to the topic. So tell me clearly, you got this idea or any confusion is there? Then I should go for the application part, because we are discussing this question. Why body is going to deposit a lot of starch in the body rather than free flowing glucose in the blood. This is a right decision or not? This question is again written here. Why nature has selected starch to be deposited in the body, not as glucose? Not exploitable. Because if you are discussing a condition, then only we can have the maturity. I have a lot of slides. No? I can show you this is the formula, that is the formula, right? You can see here. So water move from high water concentration to area of low water concentration. This is called as the osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is the force that is necessary to resist the movement, and osmotic pressure is influenced by the concentration of what? Solute. So dissociated component of solute individually influence the osmotic pressure. And how the osmotic pressure you can measure? By dissolving some solute in water and putting a barrier, right? So for example, you are having no pressure. This is a kind of membrane, and the solute is filled here. Then there is a natural tendency. What you can see, the water is filled here. Water is going to filled here. So what you will say this phenomenon? इसको क्या बोलोगे आप? If we are using the semi-permeable membrane and solute is filled within it, then what we can observe, the water is moving inside that, and that's why we are gaining some height, right? And this height should go up to what level? कितने height तक ये water जाएगा? Anyone is uncomfortable in Hindi? Gayatri? I think everyone is getting little bit Hindi, na? Gayatri? Suparna? Okay. No problem. I am not using Hindi. Okay. Now just tell me. Up to what level this is going to rise? Okay, LKE. Matlab everyone is. Up to what level this water is going to rise in this test tube? Yes, this is the right answer until it becomes the isotonic. Now, only you can move this excessive water again into the beaker only by applying the force. This is really a wonderful observation, wonderful experiment for understanding the concept of osmotic pressure. And then scientists devised there are three types of mechanism. This is exactly the mechanism. One is the hypotonic, where water is going to fill inside the cell and the cell is going to burst. And hypertonic, when water is coming out of the cell and there is a high cell shrinkage is observed. And obviously this is the normal condition where cell is in the isotonic solution, no net water movement. Okay, clear? So what I can give you the formula, that is pi is equal to IC/RT. So IC is exactly the term. IC is together. This is not separate. I written wrongly here. IC means osmolarity of the solution. This is going to be decided. IC means ionization factor. Right? Exactly. If I am using the NaCl, what will be the IC? IC will be 2. If I am using the starch, IC will be 1. If I am using the glucose, IC will be also 1. Now you got the answer or not? Tell me. For glucose, this is IC is equal to 1 or less than 1? What you will say? They are ionizing. In another word, what we can ask, this is ionizing solutes or non-ionizing solutes? Yes, Raj Lakshmi, very good. Because starch, maintaining starch rather than easy, because it's deposited, it's not flowing in the blood, and they are because of starch, RBC is not going to be affected. Right? If the starch is 1000 gram or 10,000 gram or 100,000 gram deposited in the body. Mostly girls are very concerned, na? This should not be, this should not be. Rather than this should be. Then ultimately what is happening? A lot of glucose in the blood, they are diverting. This is going to be very dangerous. Alright, whenever you are making the dieting, always supposed to know that you are increasing or diverting, because all the starch is going to be converted into what? Glucose. And this glucose is going to be released into the blood. In that case, you should have a very good working mechanism of insulin. Otherwise, who is going to be directly affected? Your RBC. So this is separate concept. I am not going to discuss that concept. But I think who asked that question, that 1000 gram was answering how 1000 gram of starch is equivalent to 10 milligram of glucose. Akriti, I think you asked me, na? Suparna asked me. Okay? Suparna? Now you agree? You find your answer or not? By this equation, what we can say, there are two types of solutes. One is ionizing and other is non-ionizing. Right? And if we are mixing a lot of solute in the water, suppose this is a beaker and I am dissolving salt also, I am adding glucose also, I am adding KCl also. You know, girls are very fond of eating mixture of the things, salt, glucose, and a mixture of salts and glucose. Right? Sucrose, glucose, fructose, everything. This is going to be very, very dangerous. So suppose Merit Life Sciences is a girls institute from nowadays. Okay, so you are free to change this name, and this is your institute. And if I am doing the right work, then you should support. You should join a lot of people, because they should also have right to be benefited, right? Because our target is to join at least 200 girls in the same freedom plan, but that should be recommended by you people. For all other outsider, that freedom plan is going to end soon on this Sunday. Okay, so mock test is going to be very powerful tool for you, because I am going to ask such kind of questions. I am going to give you different situations. For example, for the ionizing solutes, non-ionizing solutes. Okay, let us do some questions here also. Then I will come to some. Suppose this is the question, and now you have to also select the. There are two scenarios given. Suppose measure solute in intact lysosome or KCl and NaCl. This is, suppose this is a lysosome. Make the scene, like given KCl, NaCl. Right? This is a lysosome. Thick. Okay. And got the first point or not? I am especially asking to those who had got more than 80% in NTA. So I am interacting them only this time, because they should come out, they should find out their fault, you can say. So Raj Lakshmi, I think, and Akriti, Dipanchi, tell me, you got this point? Suppose the measure solute in intact lysosome or KCl 0.1 molar, write down this concentration, and NaCl is 0.03 molar. Okay. When isolating lysosome, right? Now we want to isolate this lysosome from any cell. Now where we are isolating? Isolating in the beaker, of course. Right? So during the isolation, we have to keep care of that lysosome should not burst. Means What I am saying, this there should be maintenance of isotonicity, right? Do you agree? So the question is, what concentration of sucrose should be there in the extracting solution, because you are going to work in the research laboratories, so then it can be problematic. Okay, Rajashri? Yes. So what concentration of sucrose is required in the extracting solution at room temperature to prevent swelling and lysis? This is very simple. How you are going to calculate? Tell me. Do you need answers? I think you should not dependent on the answers. You should have a power of writing pi is equal to IC RT. So RT is fixed, I think. So we should ignore this fact. Alright? Then what they are asking, what should be the IC? IC of this combined and IC of KCl plus NaCl, and they are asking IC of sucrose. Am I right? And if both IC are equal, IC Kn and IC S, then only this lysosome is not going to swell or lyse. Am I right or not? Do you agree with this analysis? Now you can unmute yourself, no problem, because this is a kind of discussion. So come up with, this is not going to be very tough, this is very easy. I am not going to do any mathematics, okay, and I am going to solve this. Tell me how we can go with that, because we have seen just there may be different IC1 plus IC2. If there is a mixture of solute, then we can add up those IC. For KCl, what is the IC? What is the NaCl? So already they are giving 0.1 plus 0.03. So what will be the total IC? 0.13, right? And what about the sucrose? It should be 0.13. So now it's easy to predict how much concentration, means molarity always they have given this concentration in the molar. So can you predict in the what will be the molar solution of sucrose that should be taken, right? They are asking indirectly what should be the molar concentration of sucrose to maintain IC of pi of 0.13, right? So now one thing is given, pi is equal to 13, already you have determined. Then IC of glucose. Okay? Then you should know the molecular weight of glucose and all that, right? Then you can calculate. Let us see how this can be done in the stepwise manner. So this is the formula, right? So we have calculated this IC of KCl and NaCl wrong, because IC of KCl was what we missed, 2, because it's going to release 2 ions, and similarly NaCl is going to release 2 ions. We should multiply 2 into 0.1 plus 2 into 0.03. Then we will get the correct IC of lysosome. This is the P lysosome. Now what is this? What should be this? 0.2. What should be this? 0.06. This is 0.03. 2,6. देखा, डबल हो गया ना, because of IC difference. Now this IC should be equivalent to sucrose, right? जैसा हमने पहले एनालिसिस किया था, as we have discussed about the IC of sucrose. So IC of lysosome, and they are asking the osmotic strength of sucrose solution. So what we can write the formula? How we can formulate the equation? Pi sucrose must be, because RT we can ignore, so we can write IC sucrose, I sucrose and C sucrose. There are two terms. So if sucrose is not going to ionize, then I will be 1. Sucrose is going to ionize or not? Tell me. Sucrose is going to ionize or not? Speak out. No, right? So this should be 1. Then they are asking C of sucrose, and pi sucrose should be equivalent to this 0.26 mole per liter. To put value 0.26 mole per liter equivalent to 1 into C you have to determine. So tell me, you got the answer or not? You got your answer or not? Tell me. If you are not speaking, I am not going to tell anything. If you are not getting answer, then I can restart. I can explain once again. Akriti, Bipanchi, Rajlakshmi, Simran, Suparna. It's a clear, or I should explain once again? Sucrose is ionized or non-ionized solute? Tell me. Sucrose is not going to be ionized. So this is non-ionizing solute. Right? So always non-ionizing solute have I is equal to 1. This may be starch, this may be sucrose, this may be glucose, right? So there are two solutes. One is ionizing and other is non-ionizing. Ionizing solute means KCl. Why I am saying this is ionizing solute? When you are going to dissolve in water, they are going to ionize into 2 parts. But when we are going to dissolve glucose in water, how many ions you are expecting? Zero, right? Zero means whatever the concentration you took, they are going to be ionized into 0. So we can assume them always as a I is equal to 1, not 0, because they remains there. Got the idea? So you can take an example, sucrose, starch, glucose, right? All these are very good example of non-ionizing solute. So in our body, as electrolyte, you can see a lot of salt solutions are there. Why we are eating vegetables? For the salts, right? In the summer, what we can see, all the salts we are losing via sweat. Now we are eating a lot of glucose, lot of salts, right? Pani puri, favorite item of all the girls. Am I right or not? Simran? Suparna? No. So, last part is clear or not? Tell me. Let us do it again. Anna? I think many girls are not getting anything. Is it clear perfectly? Perfectly clear, or just any little bit of doubt is there? There is no mathematics. Anna? It's a totally depend on I. So let me explain once again in a few seconds. so that there should not be any. So now I can design the question again. What is the question? Suppose I want to isolate lysosome from cells, lysosome from tissue, correct? And this lysosome has an internal environment made up of two salts, that is KCl 0.1 molar and NaCl 0.03 molar, right? Now I want to isolate what? Lysosome from tissue. Now I am asking what should be, for example, not in that way. I can ask you a question, which sucrose concentration will not make lysosome burst, right? So answer is first pi is equal to, concentration should be 0.26 mole per liter, 0.13 mole per liter, 1 mole per liter, or since sucrose molecular weight is 180, so we can take 180 mole per liter. So what you will mark now? Which option you will opt? You will go with the first, right? Because already you know the how to calculate. Now analyze, learn the analysis. That's what I am saying again and again. The questions, this question you attempted in only 1 second, less than 1 second. How this is possible? Because you know the logic. What is the logic? Pi is equal to ICRT. So you can ignore this fact totally. Now I have told you there is a mixture of salt in the lysosome, correct? Now for the mixture of lysosome we can write pi lys. So IC1 plus IC2. Okay. So IC containing the two factors. One is the I into C1 plus I into C2. And both the I's must be included. Earlier we have included only C1 and C2. That's why we got this value, right? But when I have included, what is the I for KCl? This is 2 into then 0.1, and for I for NaCl is 0.03 into 2 again, right? Then I am getting this value, that is 0.26 mole per liter, which should be equivalent to this concentration, right? So now again we can create the equation, pi of pi must be equivalent to lysosome, right? Pi sucrose concentration sucrose concentration is asking, right? And the term condition is I lysosome must be equivalent to sucrose. Then only they are not going to burst, right? So whatever the concentration we are getting for the lysosome, now again we can create the new formula, and this formula is pi lysosome equivalent to IC sucrose. So I for sucrose and C for sucrose, right? I for sucrose should be 1 because they are not going to ionize. So always for non-ionized solute, this may be glucose, this may be sucrose, this may be starch, this may be glycogen, this may be anyone, right? So I for the sucrose will be 1 multiplied by CS. So that's why this CS equivalent to the same 0.26 mole per liter. And if this was a kind of ionizing solute, right, then this value is going to change according to the value of I. And if this was 2, suppose, if this was 2, I is equal to 2, then pi will be half. Means this would be the true answer. So our answer totally depends on this solute, what is called as the non-ionizing solute. Now I think this is clear to everyone, right? Perfectly clear? Okay, thank you so much. Chalo. So I think I'm teaching up to your standard, right? I'm not below that standard, whatever you have achieved till date. So a lot of other calculations are there, but I'm not going to tell you the detail. Simply you should know what should be the right answer and where answer is going to be changed. Correct? So this was a wonderful discussion. So I was telling some live facts. There are some live facts. For example, why insulin is required? That was the question. Why insulin is required? If glucose is not going to affect anything, then why insulin is required? If glucose is non-ionizable solute, right? Then why we are requiring the insulin? Any idea? No idea? No idea. Chalo. That's what I am asking. Why insulin should be active to prevent Raj Lakshmi, correct, accumulation, because its accumulation have a bad consequences for RBC and other cells, right? They are going to right. So swelling may be one option, bursting may be option, death of the cells may be option, right? A lot of consequences are there. That's why the continuous glucose removal is there. And you know, if you are taking natural sucrose from the fruits, right, then you don't require any insulin. And obviously they are going to be digested into the glucose, but I don't know what are the facts. But I was reading an article, there it was mentioned that if you are eating a lot of food, that's why our older some kind of rishi people that were living in the jungles and praying to the gods, right? So they were leaving their food totally not on the grains, rather than totally on the fruits, and as a result they were going to have longer life than expected. Now we are having a very little life and a lot of diseases we don't know. That's only because of a lot of glucose. So if we can control the glucose, we are not going to burden our insulin, then we can have a very good life. And that's why for my all girls students, I am recommending start your day with little bit of yoga in the bed, not outside, because the outside environment is very drastically changing. It's temperature, pressure, osmotic pressure even. So you are going to dehydrate from nose. So rather than you have to sit in your bed and start a little bit of yoga. And every day Baba Ramdev is live on the Facebook 5 to 7, and that is my also time for the yoga. Okay, that can make your glucose concentration fit and fine. So that was a hydronium ion, right? H3O plus was a hydronium ion. So proton do not exist in the free solution. This was also asked in the CSIR. So tell me what is not true about the water ionization. So first option was proton do not exist free in the solution. The rest all the sentence were wrong. Okay, and people were very confused because they were thinking that obviously water is going to break into H ion and OH ion, right? But this is not the fact. This H ion never exists free in the solution. It's a very tough to get. After the electrolysis by the fourth generation, you can get the proton. Otherwise, proton is not going to be produced. Rather than what is produced in the water, this is hydronium ion. Hydronium ion is a water molecule with a proton associated with one of the non-bonding electron pair, and you will not be surprised. Sometimes CSIR people can ask the structure of H3O plus, right? Because they are saying non-bonding electron pairs, right? So we are not going to discuss that part, chemistry part, but a lot of chemistry is involved, and really it's fascinating to know on that chemistry part. So hydronium ion are solvated by nearby water molecules, and that's what you can expect in the form of lots of formation of hydrogen ion. So whatever the hydrogen ion, अभी आपको पता था, do you know this fact earlier that hydrogen bonding is only because of hydronium ions, not the protons? Are you people were aware of this fact earlier? That's what I'm saying. Okay? This is kind of research, right? If you are doing the research, then you know the facts. And if you know the facts, no one can shake you in the entire world, right? This world is full of scientific people. Our India is kind of full of politicians, right? So if you open the Facebook and the social media, a lot of toxic things are there. Right? People are talking nonsense and a lot. You should not go by that, right? Rather than our Merit Life Sciences Facebook page is there. So you can go there, you can join, I will make you admin, promote there, and a lot of means you can enjoy your time in learning, right? Putting the facts, so that you can make their notes, you can share that Facebook page, you can join, make them learn to people who are in the masters or BSc, right? Because education is a kind of, whatever the practice we are making, practice makes man perfect. This is right for the education purpose. If you are teaching a BSc students all these facts, automatically without effortless knowledge you will have, because you have to memorize all these facts. Then you have not to memorize, right, Bipanchi? Bipanchi is taking a lot of classes, so I think she left. No, she not left. Bipanchi, am I right? By teaching, you get endless and effortless learning. So hydronium ions are one reason that is going to be present in the water in the highest concentration, and this is the one reason they are going to form a lot of hydrogen bonds. And you know, hydrogen bonds are created by what factors? But because of the electronegativity of the oxygen, lone pair of electrons, right? And also because of this covalent and hydrogen bonds are interchangeable, this allows for extremely fast mobility of proton in water via proton hopping. Do you know this mechanism? This is, I think, one of the most important discovery by the scientists in the entire understanding of life. Because if this is absent, then you can say there should be no life. Why I am saying that? Can you tell me what is the proton hopping? Have you heard this term? Can you give an example? We have discussed in the, I think, first class. The first class little bit. Who left? 2 people left. Don't like my classes? Swati? So what is the proton hopping? Very simple. I can give you the example. The formation of ATP. Formation of ATP is because of, tell me now, why I am saying the ATP is the best example of proton hopping. You love the white screen or black screen? Tell me clearly. What is the proton hopping? So one example I can cite is the formation of ATP. What is the ATP? Now you can see there are electron acceptors. There are certain metals which are acting as a cytochrome, right? Okay? Do you agree? All these are electron acceptors. And if they are accepting the electron, from where the electron is, because you are oxidizing the food, then these food, what they are doing? They are releasing flood of electron. You got this idea? They are releasing a lot of electron in the solutions. So a large number of some proteins are there that is rich in copper or iron. What they are doing? What is their function? Their function is to receive this electron, and in turn what is happening? They allow proton pump. So because of proton pump, this now is rich, this side is rich in hydrogen ion concentration. This is now low in hydrogen concentration. That's why that motor is running. What is the name of this motor? Called as the ATPase, right? ATPase, where they allow mixing of ATP and PI to form large number of water. So ultimate electron acceptor is oxygen. What is the role of oxygen? Tell me. So what we are studying? What is the topic? Proton hopping. A little bit difficult I can feel, but this is not as difficult because you are hearing this mechanism first time, because this is interesting, right? So what I am simply telling that if water have a both the property, interchangeable property of between the covalent and hydrogen bond, and because this is because of hydronium ion, right? And obviously beautiful part of this is that they can be electron can be captured by this iron, and because of this property of iron, this because property of water, right? There is a beautiful pumping of proton against the concentration gradient, and as a result there is a large synthesis of ATP. Okay, you got the idea or not? Very simple. I am not going into detailed mechanism, which oxidizing agent or that, not that. I am just telling you from where electron is coming, how the proton hopping, what you can say, this proton pumping is also given a term called as the proton either you are completely understanding or totally not understanding. Tell me clearly. Rajlakshmi, got the idea? I am simply explaining the property of water. That's because of its feature of hydronium ion, they are able to jump. Proton is going to jump. If proton were not able to jump, then we cannot expect any kind of ATP synthesis. Very simple conclusion. Okay, so I am just explaining the property of water and different mechanism. So just here written this word, you can read that line, right? What is the written? A covalent hydrogen bond are interchangeable. This allows for extremely fast mobility of proton in water via proton hopping. So this is I am explaining the proton feature of proton hybridization. Okay. So now you can see this is proton hopping, right? If this is a very strong bond, means they are not going to release any proton, and if they are not going to release proton, this hydrogen cannot shift there or link there, right? And if this is not going to link there, then you cannot expect any associative property of this hydronium ion. So water accepts proton and becomes hydronium ion. Just keep this fact in your mind. Water accepts proton and becomes hydronium ion. Hydronium ion, then again reversible process, water plus H plus, what you can write in your term, H3O plus, and again this is going to dissociate into the reverse direction. Very simple conclusion of this concept, what is called as the proton hopping. So in the next lecture from Monday, you can say, we will study the ionization of water, pH, Kw, Kb, Ka, all the fact on the life, calculation, a lot of numericals. So I don't want to give a lot of you can say data, so that your mind is going to hop today night like proton hopping. Okay? Do you agree? We should stop our discussion here and be ready for the mock test. We'll discuss a lot of questions in the mock test sometime from the last years. And I have given some questions. Have you gone through that questions? I posted in the group. Oh, that's a lot of numerical was there, na? Chalo, no problem. Because very simple formula is there. Mass per unit volume is the density, right? Volume is equal to pi r cube. If this is circle and if this is a rectangle, then volume formula is there. You have to go your 10th class, 10th standard formulas for the mathematics. Just I have given you to look out for the solution, so that your practice should be there in the direction of section A, because sometime you can turn out the pages, right, and then you